Hello and welcome to grammar class. Today's topic is principal and auxiliary verbs. First off, what is a verb in English grammar? Well, a word which denotes being or having or doing something is called a verb in grammar. In other words, a verb is a word that indicates an action or a state of being of people or things. In short, a verb means being or having or doing. For example, in the sentence John is happy, the word is indicates John's being happy. In the next sentence, he has a pet, the word has is a verb because it indicates he is having or possessing a pet. And in the following sentence, he loves his pet, the word loves is also a verb because it shows an action. The verb loves denotes the action of loving his pet. However, a verb may also be used as a noun in a sentence when it does not denote doing something but just names something. For example, in the sentence, we water the plants every day, water is a verb because it denotes doing something. It indicates an action here. But in the next sentence, we need water to survive. Water is the name of something. It does not denote an action here, so it's a noun in this sentence. There are chiefly two types of verbs in grammar: principal verbs and auxiliary verbs. But first, let me explain the concept of principal or main verbs. You see, a principal verb or main verb is one that can be used independently or alone in a sentence in the sense of being or having or doing something. In other words, a principal verb can stand alone in a sentence and denotes a complete sense of being, having or doing. The principal verb can by itself express a tense, voice or mood. For example, in the sentence I watch television every day, the word watch is the principal verb in simple present tense. It denotes the complete sense of an action and is the most important part of the predicate. Similarly, in the next sentence, you are a doctor, I is the only verb and the principal verb in simple present tense. It denotes a state of being a doctor. Then in the sentence, he has two sisters, has is the only verb and the principal verb denoting the full sense of he is having or owning something. In the last sentence, we study and play together. There are two verbs, study and play. Both these verbs are main verbs in the sentence because they can stand alone and express the complete sense of actions in simple present tense. Remember, a sentence must have at least one subject and one principal verb in it. But what about auxiliary or helping verbs? Well, as the name suggests, an auxiliary or helping verb helps a principal verb to form a tense, mood or voice and also to form a negative or interrogative structure. You see, an auxiliary or helping verb helps the main verb in the sentence. It cannot stand alone or make a complete sense by itself in the sentence. So we understand that although auxiliary or helping verbs cannot stand alone or cannot be used without the principal verb, they do serve certain grammatical purposes. An auxiliary verb combines with the principal verb to form certain tenses, moods or the passive voice. It also helps the principal verb to form interrogative or negative sentences. Not only that, auxiliary or helping verbs modify the main verb by qualifying its meaning in the sentence. In the sentence, I am writing a letter, the auxiliary verb am is combining with the principal verb writing to form the present continuous tense. In the next example, the auxiliary do helps the main verb speak to form the interrogative structure by coming before the subject you. Here the helping verbs am and do have no clear meaning, yet they serve important grammatical purposes by helping the main verbs writing and speak respectively. There are two types of auxiliary verbs in English grammar. Verb be, verb have and verb do are called primary auxiliaries. All the different forms of verbs be, have and do used as primary auxiliaries are provided on your screen. There are also modal auxiliaries or modal verbs which help the main verbs by modifying their meanings in different ways. Here is a list of all modal and semi-modal verbs on your screen. Remember, modal auxiliaries cannot be used alone in the sentence, but they do add to the meaning of the main verb. Late is also an important auxiliary verb, but it's not used with the second person pronoun you. Now see some examples of auxiliary verbs helping the main verb in sentences. In the sentence, it was raining heavily, the auxiliary verb was is used with the main verb raining to form the past continuous tense. In the next example, two auxiliaries have been are used with the main verb waiting in the present perfect continuous tense. Similarly, two helping verbs will and be are used before the main verb running in the future continuous tense. In the next example, the auxiliary verb do is used before the subject you to form the interrogative sentence in simple present tense. In the sentence, we should not smoke, should is a modal auxiliary expressing obligation or duty to modify the main verb smoke. In the last example, let me speak, late is the auxiliary verb and speak is the main verb. Here the auxiliary late expresses the speaker's wish. Mind you, as is evident from the second and the third sentences, more than one helping verbs may come before the main verb in a sentence. Last but not the least, we know that verbs be, have and do in all their different forms as mentioned earlier in the video are called primary auxiliary verbs. But verbs be, have and do can also be used as a main verb in a sentence. For example, in the sentence, I am a social worker, am is the only and main verb in the sentence denoting a state of being. In the next sentence, Tom has a new car, has is not an auxiliary verb, but the principal verb denoting the act of possessing a new car. Similarly, in the third example, does is the only verb showing an action of doing something, so it's also the main verb in the sentence. In the last example, verb be is used as the main verb after the auxiliary verb will, denoting a state of being. However, please remember that except for semi-modals need, dare and used, modal auxiliaries are never used as the main verb in a sentence. That's the end of today's class. Hopefully you liked the video. Please be sure to like, comment, share and subscribe to our channel for more grammar videos. Thanks for watching the video.